Okay, so today we're going to be talking all about how to do pitch risers. So I have this pitch riser that I made like 5 seconds ago, and we're going to go through how I made that pitch riser. So for the sake of this video, I'm only using Logic plugins and Logic soft synths. So let's first play the pitch riser, and then I will go through a little bit about what we did. Okay, so you can hear it's a pretty standard pitch riser. Um, my thought process about how I go about this is that I want this to be dynamic the whole way through. The basis of the pitch riser is really just the note rising up 2 octaves. And I will show you, of course, how we did that, or how I did that. I don't know why I keep saying we. Um, but mostly I want it to be dynamic all the way through, as I said, and I want different things to happen as the pitch riser goes along. So in this case, we have it start out, and then towards the middle, it's going to start to pump. And then at the end, it's going to both high pass and it's going to have an FM effect to kind of make it more exciting right before the apex of the riser. So what I did was that first I draw in a note before anything. So in this case, since we don't have a song that we're putting this in, I just made it a D. And typically the MIDI automation would be closed. So I made a note and I dragged it all the way 8 bars. And then what I did was that I hover over the bottom here, and that will make the cursor turn to this shape. When you pull it up, it'll reveal the MIDI automation. I will then go to pitch bend, and then I will make a node here at 0 and a second one at the very end, and I will drag it all the way up to 63, which is the highest value that MIDI will go. From there, I will find a soft synth and sound that I like. So let's mute the rest of these, or bypass the rest of these plugins, so we can hear just what each element does. And we'll turn off automation. Okay, so I went into retro synth, and it's the very first thing that I did, and I found a lead sound that I liked. In this case, it was Dance Basic Lead. It's under the leads in retro synth. And then I think the only thing I did to this sound was that I moved the the attack all the way down on the filter envelope, and then I lowered it a little bit on the amp envelope so it doesn't start right away. From there, I went into the settings section and went to the bend portion and set that to 2 octaves. So this is very important. It's going to be in different places for different synths, but you will need to find where the bend section is, and you're going to want to set it to at least an octave, or in this case I've set it to 2 full octaves. Okay, so let's take a listen and see what that sounds like, and that should be pretty close to really what we're looking for here. It's going to be a pitch riser. Okay, so what I like about that sound already is that the sound itself is somewhat dynamic. It to at least my ears has more vibrato as it goes along. So that already gives you like a nice little starting point there. From there, what I did was that I automated, oh, let me turn the automation back on. I automated the cutoff section on it, which has this really nice resonant bump that's pinned to it. Now, I believe the way I have the settings, it shouldn't be a huge difference that you hear, but it is low passing it. Okay, so you can hear what that effect does. And again, the way that I did that was that I typically wouldn't have gone into the automation section here, and then gone to retro synth, gone to the filter section, and then gone to cutoff. You could certainly do it that way. However, more likely what I did was I went and set this to touch rather than to read, and then I would grab the cutoff, and so let me actually demonstrate that, and then I would play the track. Okay, and what you can see there is that it has taken both the resonance and the cutoff and has automated them to what I pulled it to there. And typically I'll do that because I find it to be more natural to my process, and B, because it doesn't take me out of being creative to go into the automation lanes and start looking for things. There's a lot of parameters here, and if you don't know where that is, it can be just kind of annoying to go out of your process to do that. From there was what I did was I put a tube EQ on, just kind of colored the sound a little bit. So we've added a little bit of 100 hertz and a little bit of 4K. It's just personally what I thought would bring it out of the track a little bit. I didn't actually automate anything for the EQ. It's just set to affect the sound. From there, I went to this ring shifter. So the ring shifter, what I'm trying to accomplish here is that I wanted to FMify this sound at the very end. So let me take a peek at that automation lane. So really, what I've done here is that I have not automated the frequency at all. It's set static to this this setting, somewhere between 0.1 and 0.3K. And then what I've done is I've automated the dry wet on it. So you won't hear this effect until the very, very end. And I'll show you what that sounds like. Okay. So you can see it just gets more FM at the end. It makes the sound more kind of exciting right as it's reaching its peak. And again here, what I more than likely did was set it to touch mode and then drag the automation knob. However, as you can see from this, afterwards what I will do is go through and smooth it out so I don't have like a million automation nodes in there. Okay, so from there, what I did was I put a little overdrive on it. The overdrive, again, I'm not actually automating anything in this. For this, all I'm doing is driving it because I wanted to saturate it and make the sound more aggressive overall. So I put the tone all the way up. I put up the drive a little bit, and I think I also put up the output. From there, what I did was I put a channel EQ on. What I was trying to accomplish with this is I wanted to high pass it at the very, very end. So it makes it kind of teeny tiny right as it's getting more aggressive. Okay, so let's play that so you can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can see what happened there. Right at the very end, we start high passing here and then end there. Okay, so from this point, what I did was I decided to pump it a little bit. So I put a compressor on, and I will show you how we do this. So I'm going to show you the effect of it first, and then I will show you what I'm doing. Okay, so you can hear that effect of where it is now kind of pumping to the quarter beat. And how I did that was through a very simple side chaining technique. I probably should have also watched my output, but for the sake of this video, it doesn't matter. Um, and so I have set the side chain to audio 1. So audio here and drums audio 1. That is this track right here, and you can see that it says drums. Or we can actually just change that and just call it trigger so you can really see. So under audio, trigger. Okay? So the most important thing here is that although I want it to pump to the kick, I don't want to actually hear the kick. So we've taken the output and we've gone from stereo output to no output. Okay? And then we have picked it up over here. From there, what I've done is I've automated this mix level. So let's go to that, compressor and mix, and you will see this mix level start to go, start to move. So you can see where it is not pumping at the very beginning, and then as it reaches around this point, you're starting to hear the pumping until it hits its height right there. From there, what I did was I wanted it to be a little bit more stereo. So I put this tremolo effect on. It is also tremulating it to the quarter note. So that's going to reduce the amount that you're going to hear the pumping, although you will still hear the pumping. But it will give it the stereo effect of kind of bouncing back between the speakers and a quarter note. So let's take a listen to that. Okay, so you can hear what that's doing. So now there's one last effect that I want to show you. It is not something that I had originally put on this pitch riser, but it is a very commonly used effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute this send. So I have this sent to a reverb. So meaning I went to a bus. In this case, it was my synth effects bus. And I selected that and I put a reverb on that bus. Okay? So from there, what I would do is I would take it from post-pan and put it into pre-fader. What that means is that I want it to be independent of the volume of this fader. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the volume here, and I'm going to lower the volume at the very end of this pitch riser, so it reduces to nothing. And then I am going to go to my main. I am going to go to my first send, synth effects, and I'm going to go to absolute. Okay? That's going to take me to this automation lane. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the volume of the reverb. So now we're going to have reverb the entire time that the pitch riser is going, and then at the very end the reverb is going to rise up while the volume of the pitch riser goes down. So you can see that it gives the effect of the pitch riser fading into the background of the song. So you could actually have the pitch riser start out like that. Sometimes I'll do that where I have the volume down but the reverb very high, and then it will make the effect of the pitch riser sounding like it's coming out of nothing, or out of the background of the song, or in this case I've done it where it fades out into nothing. So as always, I've now given you a few tips, and I would love if you left some tips as to how you make pitch risers in the comments section below. This is one technique for making pitch risers using soft synths. You could also, of course, use samples. There's a lot of really creative ways to go about this, but I figure that this kind of gives you the ABCs on how to get started. If you have any questions as to what I did here, please feel free to shoot them down in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to each other soon.